Well, I just want to start out. You guys, you inspired me with the 3D. I think you also did the tie. You showed us one, Doris, last time with a tie that hung down. So I definitely love the idea of having 3D. And so I zhuzhed mine up. So I started working on this one on the last online session. And I ended up adding some flags to the top. And for the other side, I again made the paper dolls, but I made it out of a different material. I spray painted it and actually moved the heads to the top so that they kind of added some more dimension to it. So love the idea of adding dimension. Um, so yeah, a couple of examples. So this particular sign was made out of a cardboard box. I had sprayed one side just pretty lightly with some white spray paint that I had, and kind of was able to sort of use these different colors to make it pop. But on the back side, I left it as a box. And what you'll notice is when to really make it pop on a cardboard box, I'm having really good luck with the light colored Posca paint markers. These are really nice paint markers. They tend to be a little bit less messy than some of the other ones I've used that I also like, but these ones are really popular, really easy to find. And the ones that have like several of the light colors are really handy on any dark, it really saturates any dark material. So otherwise, any of the darker colors will stand out on white. Um, just a couple of other, I think some of you have already seen this, a couple of other ones. Just examples of like having those nice, big, bold, simple lines are really easy to make stand out, really easy to read from far away. Using like, a stop sign instead of writing stop. Um, here's No Kings one that I'd done before for No King's Day. Adding some symbols. This is actually this one. Yes, I did a printout of his face, and then I drew my own crown. So you can kind of mix mediums, which is what I'm going to plan on doing today. So it's going to be John Lewis Day on the 17th. Is that right? On the 17th. And so I'm going to start out today with some my supplies. So my supplies are first is a board. This one is just foam core. And I have a couple of different paint markers, the Posca ones. I don't know how that's how you say it, but and then these fly C ones I tend to really like because they write really smoothly, especially if you have a bumpy surface. It tends to glide over that and not like get bumpy like sometimes the markers will when you're on cardboard. So yeah, these have been a really good buy. Sometimes they get a little bit messier when you're pumping the paint, but otherwise you can get nice. You can kind of vary the thickness of the line depending on how you're laying your markers. So you kind of shake them up, and then you want to check it. And if it's not flowing, then you kind of pump it. Some of them you kind of pump it into the cap. Some of the other ones, this one you just kind of push down on your paper or whatever, and that'll get that paint flowing. So if I want to make a thinner line, I'm using more like the tip. If I want to make it thicker, I kind of lay that piece down and sort of use it like a brush. The other option I have is I have tons of paints, regular paints. And if I choose to use those, I make sure to use like a flatter tipped paintbrush. And this can make it a lot easier to make those bold letterings, nice big letterings, and kind of keep it a little bit straight. I notice that when it's a circular paintbrush, it tends to like wiggle and it's harder to get a straighter line. And the other key is I use what's called a fulcrum. So whatever I'm drawing or writing on, I'm going to have my part of my hand or my pinky is going to help stabilize my hand so that I can make a straight line instead of like trying to freehand it. I have shaky hands, so that's been really helpful. You can also, like, if you're using white foam, like these Crayola type of markers also work just fine. But my favorite tends to be the paints. They just saturate that background a lot better. So the sign I was thinking about doing, I was like, I want to have a picture of John Lewis on there. But I also want to paint it. So what I did, and I'm going to share my screen. Maybe. Oh, you need to enable me to share, Linda. Okay. Allow. I might have to let's see, let's do. Here we go. Oh, actually, I might not be able to have this recorded, but you let me know if you can see when I attempt to share here. Okay, I don't think it's going to let me on this laptop. I need to be an administrator. So, just gonna close all this if I can. Okay. So basically what I did, and for those of you who are just Googling, I wanted to find a basic picture that I could then use and trace onto my board. So all I did is you go to Google or whatever your search engine is, and you type in, like, let's say you want to see like some ice signs or some examples like that. You can put in ice, type in ice slogans or ice protest signs, and then you click on images, and then you'll start to see a bunch of images that you could kind of get ideas from, or actually print some and add those to your sign. So in my case, I found an image like this. I went to my friend's house, kind of got like a big clip of it. I enlarged it so that it took up the whole sheet. And then I just took a couple pieces of tape. I found where I wanted to put it. I put a couple of pieces of tape, and then I used a pencil. This was someone, I think might have been in the last one. Somebody gave this idea where you literally just start drawing against the outline, and you're kind of pressing firmly enough so that it's actually making an indent into your foam core. And then after that, I just lightly retraced those lines. I know they're really light, but you can kind of see. And then then I can look at that image and see where I need to like paint in black. And then I'll have an image that is something that I actually painted. Maybe I'll do some other colors. I don't know. So that's one option if you want to stick with painting. So then kind of how I ideate is I tend to get like a little Post-it note or something, and I cut it to the shape of my sign. And that way I can get a rough idea on how I need to make the sign and not run out of room. So I put my image, like I'm going to have my image about here. And then I'm like, okay, I want to say making good trouble with John Lewis, or like John Lewis. So I've had to do it a number of times because I keep running out of room. So I kind of pretend like I'm playing hangman, and I draw each, like the space for each letter that I need to make. Now, there's going to be some letters that take up more room and some that take up a little less. So like an M and a W you're going to need a wider space for that. An I, you can just make a straight line that takes up a little less and can save you some space. And yeah, so sometimes I had to redo it because I think we've all seen the tendency is to like start big and then be like, it's not running out of room. So that's a really good it's an easy little investment to decide how you want your lettering. So I'm going to do that for real here. Let's see, get my, so about half of the space, so making is 6 letters, so I can see I'm going to need about like that much side. So I can start from that center point, be like, and like a nice big one for the M. Oops. So now I got space for M, A, K, I, N, G. And then there's a couple of techniques that I use. You can't really see that, but because I don't want to make dark lines, but can you see any of this? Probably not. Oh yeah, there you can see them. So you see my lines there. Now there's a couple ways that I do my print block. One of the simplest ways, if you're not good at like drawing the outlines of your blocks, which I've gotten pretty good at and can kind of do it fast, but another way is to just make your letter kind of an exaggerated. So there I've got like a pretty big M, and I'm leaving lots of space because what I want to do next is I'm going to just start fattening that line up. And as you're fattening it up, you're going to see, oh, it needs a little bit more on this side, a little bit more on this side to make it look good. So then I'm going to do that. Like with the A, I'm not going to put my line up too high because then I don't have enough space to make it fat. So I'm going to put it a little bit lower, and that way I can make that nice and thick. And like my K, I'm not quite going all the way here, like, because I'm going to make that line nice and fat. I'm going to do just a straight line I, a nice wide N, and my big old G. So now I've got basically my word outlined. It's hard to see. You can kind of see that. And then I can just go with my paints and start coloring that in and making that nice and bold. It's kind of nice to sometimes see like how bright your paint colors are going to show up on your color. So I tend to do like tests and see how nicely they show. And then, yeah, and then it's a matter of doing that for all your lettering, which I can keep doing. Or if you want to see me start to fill these in, I can also do that. Let me know if you want me to stop and answer any questions. We can do that.
Sara, what is, I'm sorry if I missed this. What is the message on the sign going to be?
It's going to be making good trouble like John Lewis. So I think I want to make my making this nice bright blue color. I'm testing that my paint is flowing. I've used a lot. I've used these a lot. I think I'm going to switch to the Pashka. I think I want to use like this darker navy color, so I'm going to give that a shake. I'm going to kind of test that it's flowing. It's flowing really good on my paper. And let me just turn this around. Let's see how this works out. Can you see where I'm drawing? Now, one thing to keep in mind is I am going to, I'm going to be going this way. It might also, like, you might also find it that sometimes you need to like turn your paper around to get a better angle and or be able to make your line a little bit better. But so I'm just going to go ahead and put my fulcrum down. And I'm just going to start making nice I'm just going right over that line. And nothing has to be perfect, of course. Don't agonize over it. I mean, it's going to look authentic. So I'll just kind of keep seeing how that looks and just keep filling it in where I feel like it needs to be a little thicker. Kind of maximize the space I've got here. Okay, pretty happy with that M. I'm not going to change colors because sometimes changing colors too much in one word adds a little cognitive overhead. So I am going to stick with the blue for this word.
I know for you, Sarah, that all is easy. I have to say, this is a really important tip for me personally. I've always tried to draw all my block letters. So watching you do this is really helpful because you're really following just the simple line of the letter and
Yep.
then filling it in. It's changed my life. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's like you can kind of go either way, but it makes it a little bit less pressure, less erasing. And what's kind of nice is that if I do make mistakes, sometimes I'll actually outline my words, and that can help make it. It can help make it like look neater, or I can like kind of fix little mistakes. And I also have a white Poshka pen, which is just like white paint. So if I go way off base, I can use the white and kind of clean up any like weird color patterns. I think I have enough. And it's also sometimes like if I'm really want extra credit and stuff, I can like use another color and like kind of add some like neat shading or like some kind of additional like flair. This is still pretty wet, but like kind of add some texture to that and kind of make it look like blended and kind of fun. So yeah, it looks like I gave myself lots of room for all of this and not so much room for the A. So that's a lesson learned for me. Give that A some space. Now the end looks kind of funny, so I can go over with my white later and sort of make that look like a little bit more normal. So I don't have to keep like showing you how to color letters, but yeah, are there any like questions for me or anything else you want to see me try, or maybe we can talk about putting a stick. Here I've got a nice stick that I've got. This was a piece of scrap wood that we had in the garage. I sanded it all around so that it wasn't like sharp corners. In this case, I took a cardboard box and I just bent it. And so now it's like, and then I taped it on the sides and I used a staple gun and stapled like a kind of heavy duty staple gun and stapled the sign right into my stick. And then I used some tape to kind of help secure my flags. This one got a little loose, but I could tighten that up so that it hugs it a bit better and doesn't fly away. Um, so yeah, it's nice to have a stick. You want to have a fat enough handle so that you don't get cramps from holding it too tight. I've noticed that. So I could like build this up with something else and make it a little bit thicker. Because if you wave it around like I do, it can get your hand can get a little cramped. But it's also nice, like these not having a scent, like this foam core is so light and easy. It's not that much effort to hold. So that's kind of nice. Um, but I've also used a PVC pipe to use it as a handle. That took a little bit more. We used I always forget the name of it. Not a router, not a grinder, a Dremel tool, and kind of widened, like made slits in it, and then slid the cardboard into it. But that's if you like playing with Dremels and other things like that. But that was a really nice light handle to have. Um,
Sarah, can you show us just a little beginning of how you would approach the outlining for John Lewis? I
yeah,
haven't done
so
that before. I'd love to see how that's done.
sure. Let me know if you can see here. So, as you can see, maybe, I have done some light outlining here and trying to decide what color I want to do. I could just stick with black. I think that's pretty striking, so maybe I'll do that. So what I will probably do, I might do a combination of these two. Let's see how this one's going. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna sort of go around my outline. And I'm also like sitting here looking at this, so I'm like not filling in the wrong color. And I'll probably just go around all my lines and kind of make those really defined. Kind of color them in. Come. Go. Starts getting a little dry. Give it a couple little pumps.
So that technique of pressing down and tracing on things really opens up a lot of opportunities for doing things without just printing graphics from the
Mm-hmm.
internet. I'm going to give that one a try myself. Can you think of, or anyone while Sarah's doing this, can you think of anything like Doris did with her sign? So Doris, do you have any ideas, or Sarah, anyone has some ideas of any other things we could attach to this that would make sense with travel? Did you have any ideas for that, Sarah?
To attach to this one, actually, I was thinking to do is like make a fist, like have some kind of fist thing that might be coming out of the top or something like that. Maybe even on the other side, like maybe they could be a double-sided fist that sticks up. That was one thing I was thinking. that could be a nice addition too. And they have nice black and white like images that are easy to do something just like I'm doing right now. Um,
What about just printing out pictures of, in this case, John Lewis?
Oh, that would be nice, Ellen.
I don't
mhm.
have a color printer, so mine might be limited, but you can certainly secure a good enough picture of Lewis that people would recognize them.
Mhm.
Sure. And if you don't have a color printer, what you can do is you can email the image to FedEx Kinko's, and they'll print it out for you in color too if you wanted to.
You mean just any friend who does have it? Or were you
Yeah, a
suggesting?
friend or FedEx Kinko's. FedEx Kinko's, if you email them, you get the email for their print department at the particular store where you go to. And if you email them the attachment, they will print it for you based upon what size you want. I use them a lot to print large images.
Any Kinkos would do this?
Oh, I can't, I'm sure where you live, you're in the Rockridge area, right, Ellen?
Nearby.
Yeah, nearby. Yeah, I'm sure the ones down in Oakland do,
I
or
use the
Berkeley.
printers at my library,
Oh, they
and I can
publicly let you?
send, yet you can, they have a print, they have computers you can borrow to, that have, like you were showing, how to use, what was the program?
Uh, uh, Canva
The other one.
or PowerPoint?
Oh, the PowerPoint. They have that on the computer, but you can also send directly from your home computer to the printer and then go and pick it up
Where's
at my
what
libraries.
printer? What library is it?
That's a Huntington Beach Central Library.
Oh, you should
So you
check that
check your
out.
local library
Mhm.
because it's only 15 cents, 50 cents if it's color, 15 cents if it's black and
Oh
white.
my gosh, I'm checking that out. I can't, Ellen, I'm
The
guessing because you're
largest,
pretty,
the largest
the,
size is the letters, the not the legal size paper. That's the only
oh,
problem.
11 by 14.
But
I-
you could
Yeah,
do um exactly what she's doing and just print your letters and then glue them, cut them and glue them together. You know, make the letters as big as you can on the piece of paper and then just cut them out in strips and put them on your board.
yeah. Thank you. I'm going to check out
If
our library for people to see if that's a service we can do that. I'm sure in Berkeley they have it.
yeah, they
Probably,
might.
they probably pay you to make the board.
But I think the
Um,
fist on the opposite side of the face, it would be really good sticking up at the top.
Mhm.
and we
And
have a
I
really good, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I
Okay.
was going to say, I've cut out peace signs, big hands that are a peace sign, and
Mhm.
then put them on a stick to wave when at protests or
Great
to get people's
idea.
attention. So you
Hmm.
could, it could be separate or in this case attached to the board. And I just use an X-Acto knife to cut out the foam board like I did on the iron. I just used an
Oh,
X-Acto
okay.
knife to cut after I drew it on. I cut it out.
So one other thing to think about, so in our image file that I did send the link there, and I'll send it again, we do have a good fist, a number of fists in there. I don't know why it's saying about the browser version is no longer supported. I think that's just a Zoom thing. The link should work. If any of you have any trouble with it, I'm going to put my email in the box. I'll be sending you an email after the session. So if you can't get in, do let me know so I know. And yeah, and if you have things you want to add, just send them to me and I'll upload them. Doris, I'm counting on getting a couple emails from you with some samples. This is great. Thank you, Sarah. I needed to see it come to life. Thank
Mhm.
you.
It's starting to happen. It's starting to look like a face.
Starting to happen.
Yeah, it looked,
Something's going.
it looked like a bug. Like a, some kind of
She's
a
not done, Ellen.
invasive bug.
Yeah, I might have to
Oh.
do a little cleanup with my white marker, but you know, it's starting to look like something at least.
I think it looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it'll turn out nice.
Let's see it again. Let's see it again. Oh, so are you, and you're going to put in the I think the black part of the face, his beard.
Yeah, all this
is
is going to
really
be
an
black in
important part.
here, black in
Mhm.
here.
Yeah, that's going to
Um,
really make it stand out.
Yep, and this will all be black in here.
So we've got it. We've got all turn out the 17th. Too bad it's a Thursday. I think that's going to be a little tough. But
Yeah, where is it being held, Linda?
well, that's a really good question. I'm going to work on that right after this call because I thought we were doing it in Walnut Creek, but I don't think one's been posted. So I'll be working with Three
Okay.
Sisters to see how we can get an event going for Thursday here in the East Bay. But if you go to Indivisible's Mobilize, let me put that in the chat as well. I can't because I can't. I'll send that in the email too. You can find one in your area.
Cool.
They want it to be bigger than No Kings, and we've got to show that we're not backing down. It's very
That's
important.
right.
Very, very important. So, yes, Ruth. Ruth, do you have a question? You have to unmute yourself when you can.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
Yeah, so I was thinking about John Lewis and your sign, and what came to mind for me in terms of something that's multidimensional is a bridge, because I see John Lewis at the bridge at Selma. And then I started thinking about, well, how do you draw a bridge or get a multidimensional bridge? And I can't remember if they're called black line masters, but there are basically outline drawings of a lot of different things like fruits, buildings, bridges, cars, people that you can get off the internet. And I think if you could trace that onto a piece of foam board, like another piece of foam board, you could probably cut out a relatively simple bridge with a, well, what is that tool called?
Like
An
an
X-Acto
X-Acto
knife. Yeah. And then you can just do the bridge whatever color you want, but it adds, I think it would add a little more dimension, although there's a lot going on with your sign. So I don't know, maybe that's too much, but maybe I'll think about using that for a sign myself.
Yeah.
Or the back of the sign.
Yeah. And I always make two-sided signs, and I was
Mhm.
thinking about your handle, but what I find when we're protesting in El Sobrani is it's very windy, and I get tired of holding something, whether it's my hands or the post that the sign is on. But I learned from someone else I met there that they had taken 2 yardsticks, which I later bought at Ace Hardware, and I think they were only about $2.25 each, so it was less than $5. And I hot glued those together. And then I taped it in duct tape. So it's very comfortable to hold, but it's not heavy and it's really durable. So I think at this point, I'm just going to recycle signs on and off of the two yardsticks.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's made it a lot easier on my hands.
He doesn't look like a bug anymore, Ellen.
No.
Hopefully
That's
not.
beautiful. That's lovely. That's really,
Very nice.
really,
And these
really
things make it
nice.
really,
Mhm.
it's really fast to do, you know, like that.
Yeah,
doesn't
I mean,
take
that
long.
was really fast. That was really fast.
I have
And I
a,
like the tip about
Mm.
the white. Oh my God, he's so cute. Your cat is adorable. Of the white pen, using it as a whiteout.
Mm.
That's very
Yep,
helpful
yep.
too, Sarah. Thank you.
Yep, make sure you let it dry pretty good before attempting it, but that'll help. You can kind of play on your own mistakes, and if you do too much white, you use black again, and infinity.
I have an idea for the bridge. If you wanted to make it more three-dimensional, what I did with the iron is I cut blocks of the foam core behind it, and and glued it onto the back of my iron, and then glued the iron to the board
So
Mhm.
it
so that I
popped.
could stick, so it pops out a little bit,
Mhm.
and so that I could get that fake fur underneath it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was so cute. I love that idea.
Press on.
So, so with a bridge, that would be really good because you would get like a shadow on your white board behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if
Yeah.
you did it in black, or if you just painted, you could do it in white and then paint all the little structures of the bridge if you have that much time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great idea, Doris. I love that. So look, that was a collaboration, we call that. That was great. Love it. I'm going to steal both of those ideas.